Hey guys, what's up? Hope everyone's having a really good week. It's Wednesday again. I know I haven't been on for quite a while. There's been a lot going on, but I'm back. And today I'm going to be reviewing the reel of Maria Joseph Ponraj, who is a rookie on the rookie site. Thank you for submitting your reel. Let me just bring it up on Sync Sketch really quickly so that we can do, the same thing we always do and go through it together and just take a look, and I'll give you some feedback and stuff just so, you can take that and do with it what you will. Maybe work on those shots and improve your reel, or you can just take it for future reference. It might be helpful. I think it's helpful just to see, even if you're watching someone else's reel and seeing the kind of feedback that they're getting, so that you know for future reference what to look out for on your own stuff. So let me bring that up and we will go through it. Let's hope I remember how to work this, because it's been, what, like a month since the last one I did? First things first, can you guys actually hear me properly? Can you hear me? I'm kidding. Well, actually, I'm not kidding. Like, let me know if you can hear me, because I need to know. You can just let me know in the chat. Be a little awkward if I start giving feedback and nobody hears what I'm saying. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, let me share the screen. Yes, it's working. Sweet. Okay, cool. Let me play it through for you once, as usual. There was no sound for this reel, as far as I know. When I listened to it, it didn't have music, so don't worry, I didn't stuff that up. Okay, cool. Awesome reel. You've got a nice variety of like body mechanic shots in here. Very cool that you've got animals and humans. A lot of people just focus, on human or on animals. So that's really good. Let's go through it a little more slowly together now. Okay, let's start here with this little birdie. So I really like the speed of his moves that you've got going on there. It's just like a bird, they're so quick and darting in every movement that they do. It's great how it does that head dip whenever it moves. Let me just play it again so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's it landed, and then as it hops, it does that little head dip, which is also really great. You can tell that you've been looking at reference of birds and how they move. I really love the little head tilt as it looks at things, especially it kind of hops down here and it eyes those berries or whatever it is that's over there. That's also really great because obviously its eyes are on either side of its head. So that's how birds look at stuff. So you can tell that you've looked at reference and it looks really good. There's just a few elements that, as always, there's stuff that could be improved on, even like Disney animators have stuff that could be improved on. I do feel like it's a little too quick in some places, like from one extreme to the next, it's literally the next frame. Like there to there, It's literally the next frame, and it's quite a big movement to have. So even if you just had like 1 or 2 frames in between that movement, I think it would help it feel a little realistic. It almost feels like it's been sped up in some parts, especially I noticed once he jumps onto the balcony there, like that almost feels like it's been a little bit fast forwarded. So some of those movements I think could have a little bit of breathing space. You could just add a few extra keyframes in between, maybe a little bit more, settle in some places. As he flies in particularly, but for the most part, you could add a little motion blur as well. It was quite noticeable when he first flies in because it's so crisp. And it's just sort of, this impression of wings that you've got there. And if this was recorded on a camera or on a phone, there would be motion blur unless obviously you fiddled with the shutter speed specifically to not have motion blur. But it just gets a little more realism and fluidity to the movement to have that motion blur when something is moving so fast. When it jumps from the trunk over to that little bird feeder, it could do with just a little bit more of an arc. Obviously, he's pushing up and over. So this is obviously, kind of in front of that tree trunk, so they're not perfectly aligned, but he would have to jump up and over a little bit. And at the moment, he kind of just jumps right across there. It's quite a linear movement from there to there. So I would definitely give it like a little bit of an arc over there just to make it look a little bit more fluid, a little bit more power to it, because it's almost as if he's just moving from one place to the next and not actually jumping or pushing off or giving the movement any sort of trajectory to it, if you know what I'm saying. So I definitely add a little bit of an arc over there. And as he lands, to give it just a little more weight, have him come down a little bit more and then bob back up, give it a little bit more of a settle. There is one there, but I would exaggerate it a little bit more. I like how you've got the wings flapping there as he regains his balance. You could probably do like a double flap. I used to have a bird, and like whenever he jumped, he'd be like, shit, I'm gonna fall. So they kind of like panic a little when they do that. So I would add maybe just another little flap as he rights himself. But I like that you do have one there already. And again, there, noticeably, it should have a motion blur on it for that. It'll just make the flap look a little bit more fluid as well, and not just like a quick pop-up of the wings. It looks as though its eyes are closed the whole time. I mean, yeah, I think it is, because you'd notice if there was blinking, and I think it would really give it a lot of life if you added some blinking to the bird. Something about birds, I don't know what it is, but a lot of their character comes from that blinking. It comes from, when they're like examining something and they do their cute little birdie blink as they like change eyes of what they're looking at it. So it would add a lot to the character just to have some blinking in there. But it does look like the eyes are closed because it's just got that sort of like gray, like the eyelid over it the entire time. There's that part over there as he sort of walks forward, and that's, again, it's a very, from one extreme to the next extreme. There's no arc in between. There's not really any sort of anticipation or anything. It's just extreme. So I would also, again, add a few more keyframes in between that move. And I would also add a bit of a bob to it. Birds, because obviously they're not built like humans, and they're not really built for walking, or at least not as much. Usually they'll hop like this guy does, or they'll fly. So when they do walk, they bob up and down quite a lot. It's quite an extreme movement, and there's none of that over here. So I would definitely add, as he lifts his leg, he goes up. So there would at least need to be one keyframe in between that movement as he lifts his leg and bobs up and then comes back down again. And there's very much a fluid bobbing motion to birds as they walk. I know he's not actually like doing a walk cycle. He's not walking for a long period, but even just that one simple action of lifting a leg and putting it somewhere else, there would definitely be that bob to the body over there. Did I mention I like how he looks at the berries like that with his eyes? Very cute. You can see over there that he's actually not picking up the berry. The berry kind of hops into his beak over there. And then off he flies. All in all, it's a very nice shot. It's definitely like you get that bird movement from it, so it is well done. This guy is a creep. He looks like, I'm not being rude, but he looks like an unmoisturized toe or something. His head reminds me of like a cracked heel. He's very creepy. I'm sure you intended him to be creepy, right? I'm not like being rude. That little teeth chatter thing he does, it's very good for the character design and like, you know, what he is. It's creepy. So if you wanted him to be creepy, you did a good job there. I like how he's like feeling over them and like searching for the perfect one that he wants to take. That's very cool. And then just like, snack time. It's cute. He's got a lot of character. When his hand comes up over, obviously this is the first thing we're looking at. It's all we're focusing on right now because it's the focal point. It's pretty much the only, you know, character movement in the scene. And the hands are very isolated. So they are very much what you are looking at. So I would definitely add more detail to the animation of the hands over here. Especially as this hand comes up, it sort of waves around, almost like it's flailing. I don't know if you were going for the sort of vibe of he's looking for a handhold sort of thing, but then it would be, you know, more on the edge. So at the moment with it as it is, it kind of just looks like a glitch, like maybe there were just too many keyframes there or something, and it's just causing a bit of a pop, a bit of a wobble over there. This should just come up in a nice smooth arc to come onto the edge of the edge, the edge of the edge, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean. It should just be a nice smooth arc up and over. I would also, as the hand reaches up, I would have the fingers be sort of a little more relaxed as they come up, and then as it reaches the apex of the arc, they would sort of splay out and then come down, and I would definitely offset the animation of them because at the moment they're all just moving as one thing. And because you are looking so closely at the hands right now, it's very noticeable. So I would definitely offset the animation of the fingers there as they come and grab on. This hand also, it doesn't really feel like it's bearing his weight right now just because of the way that they're posed on the edge there. It's almost as if the nails are against the edge of the thing and it just doesn't feel like a natural weight bearing, you know, clasp on the edge of something. If you're going to be pulling your body weight up on that, I would just re-examine that pose a little bit more there as well. As he pulls himself up, you also don't get the feeling of him using his upper body strength and his arms to pull himself up. So I'm not sure if there's like a step or something there, because I also noticed like now he's quite high up. So it seems like there's a step, but then we're missing just some indication of that really, because he sort of smoothly comes up here and it's not really a movement of one leg up onto a step, pushing yourself up and then the other leg coming up, you know, as it would be if you were climbing up onto a step that has a ledge on top. Also, as he pulls himself up here, it just doesn't feel like there's very much weight on his hands at all. And he lets go way too soon of the edge. Even if his feet are on something, at the moment he's not fully extended standing up, so he'd still have maybe one leg on the ledge, one leg off, or he's still crouched on the ledge. So he's not fully balanced on that ledge, if there is one. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing here. So he would still be needing to have a lot of weight on his hands and fingers at that moment there, and then he just sort of lets go. So I would just keep his hands holding on there a little bit longer, you know, until he's fully steady on his feet, because yeah, he's still stepping up, you know, and he's not, I mean, he could fall backwards at any moment. I'm a little bit worried about him, his safety. So That was a joke, by the way. I don't care about the safety of this toe-looking man. He needs to moisturize. But he needs to definitely be holding on a little bit longer over there, and just, always be aware of where the weight of your character is. What is supporting your character at any given time? Is it realistic? Does it make sense? Because right now it should be your hands that are bearing the brunt of his weight, and they're just sort of like quitting their job right there to start looking at these little sweeties or whatever they are. So keep him holding on a little bit longer, and also offset them a little bit more. They are slightly offset, but I would keep one holding on quite a bit longer while the other one reaches forward to start looking at the stuff over there. That's really cool. I would have his elbow come in a little closer to his body, like more that way. It just seems a little unnatural with how far out it's jutting. It's almost at a 90-degree angle with his shoulder. Yeah, it's definitely a little too far forward elbow there. Even this one here should come in a little bit more. That transition of the hand position over there as he's feeling, and then they very quickly go under. I would just smooth that out a little bit more as well. Put in a few more keyframes. Just be careful also over here of the hand going through the thing. So it's going through the little, what is it? Is it like a sweet? I'm going to just say it's a sweet. It goes, even while he's looking here, like there's a few instances where his hand just goes right through them. So just beware of that. If he's picking up this thing here, enough that his hand is starting to slide under it, it's going to start lifting up sooner to make space for his hand, rather than have his hand have to go through the thing next to it. And then just be aware there's like a little bit of an arm pop as well. Hey. How do I clear this weird replay thing on the timeline? That? Gosh. I do not want it to loop. Maybe that helped? No. Okay. Like that? There we go. Okay. Let's go to the next scene. This is cool because you've got 3 different animals doing a walk cycle in one scene. It's difficult though to, properly look at each one because you've got 3. So you'd have to go and look through the scene several times just to examine each one. It'd probably be better to have them separately. The giraffe is very well done. It could have a little more like fluidity to the neck, a little more bobbing up and down, I think. I'm not sure if its neck is maybe a little too far forward. I don't know when the last time I looked at a giraffe was, but I feel like his neck is tilting too far forward. Let me Google a giraffe. Maybe I'm wrong. Huh, it does stick its neck actually quite far forward when it's walking, I guess. Let's take a look at a giraffe walking video. Oh, I'm sure you guys want to see this too, right? Let me see if I can share this. Giraffe walk. There we go. Oh, it'd be cool if you added a little tail swish there. This doesn't do it justice though because he's got a harness thing on his head, so you can't get the neck bob. But his neck is bobbing quite a lot, I think. So you could add a little bit of a neck bob over there, I think. just to give it a little more fluidity. Okay, let me go back to sharing that screen. There we go. Just a little more fluidity to his neck over there, but you were right with how far forward it is. Yeah, definitely a little bit more of a bob there to the neck, and a little tail swish maybe. That'd be really cute. Okay, the next guy, this, I don't know, dinosaur type looking creature in the middle. Seems to have quite a lot of pop to his front leg. It's difficult to see his back leg because he's got animals on both sides of him, but there's definitely a lot of pop there. I would watch also with his feet, paws, whatever they are. They very rubbery looking. The way they sort of contract there, they squish as it goes back, and then it flicks backward. It looks very soft and rubbery, not really like a you know, an actual skeletal system with muscles and stuff holding it there. I would not have it bend so much, and I wouldn't have it flick backwards and curl under that much there either. And I would definitely watch that pop in the shoulder and the elbow. The shoulders are very cool, how they go up and down, your shoulder bones. I think it's a little too much though. Okay, let's look at the other dinosaur. He looks cool. He's chilled. Yeah, he looks fun. That's very cool, like a sort of a parkour scene. He needs a bit more. It's difficult here because that thing wouldn't actually be able to, he wouldn't be able to push off of it. I would put a wall here instead rather. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Draw. Oh, there. I would put an actual wall here instead of this thing because it doesn't have any sort of support structure behind it holding it up. So as he's running up it, if you were doing a comedy thing, it would be hilarious, like Spider-Man thinking he's so cool doing his tricks. He starts to run up this thing that he thinks is a wall, but it just collapses under him and he falls on his ass. That would be funny, but that's not the vibe you're looking for. So I would actually put a solid wall there for the thing that he's doing here, because the way that moves, it's just, it wouldn't happen that way. It would just flip over completely. The minute he tried to run up it would flip over. He needs a little bit more push off there as he jumps up, and push off. So first from here, his foot is sliding as he jumps. It needs to be, you know, on the ground. He needs to compress down to start to, you know, anticipation for the jump. And then he needs to push off with, you know, on his trajectory as he jumps up. So you need that extension, that push down, and then that extension as he jumps up. And then over here as well. Obviously, that thing is still moving back and his foot is still stuck there. His foot would follow it if it was moving backwards, but also he just needs a bit of a push off there. Again, the compression and then the push off. His ankle needs to bend as he pushes off, as he jumps, because, you know, you push off not with your foot flat. It sort of, you know, goes up, you push off, you know, from the ball of your foot and your toe and stuff. So that would need to happen over there. And then he kind of just goes into the, like, fast into the arc over there from, like, he's doing a slow and then it goes fast straight away. Needs to be a bit more of a smoother arc over there. Quite a cool landing. It's a cool little somersault that he does in the air there. The landing's a bit smooth. It could have a bit more weight to it as well. Like, he's a man, he's a heavy man, he's got muscles and stuff, you know, so as he lands, it should be more like lands on his feet fast into the sink into the crouch, like a lot faster to give you that feeling of weight as he lands, and then a little bit of a stop, like a frame or two, and then he can go forward into the next move over there. The somersault, I think, could be a little bit quicker, actually, now that I'm going back and looking at it. Yeah, that could definitely be a bit quicker. And then when he scoots along the ground there, like, what's pushing him off to do that scoot? Because I would think it's not really this foot, because he's just like, his toes just going along the ground and then that goes backwards. So should be this foot. So I feel like you could just make that a little more obvious that he's pushing off from that foot. At the moment, that foot is just sort of flat and then skids along the floor as well. His body should extend a little more as he goes around here, just to give it a little more oomph, a little bit more of a fluid movement, because his body's very stiff as it goes around there. It would be very cool if it came back into like a sort of an arc, like a nice smooth arc. As he pushes, it smoothly like goes into an arc, and then it goes into like an inverse of that arc as he comes back around like that. This move in here could just use a little work on the timing, the spacing of the frames. As he pushes off, it should be a little faster. Speed slows down as it reaches the apex of the arc and then speeds back down as gravity kicks into the floor. It's a little bit of a wobble there on his neck and just the rest of his body. Feels like there's maybe a little too many keyframes over there. It's not really a smooth movement. And then as he jumps up here, obviously there's a problem with the timing in that arc and just the spacing, you know, where he lands from where he pushed off from. His arc is like from here, like to there. Yeah, which is just, it's too long for where he's starting and where he's landing. And it seems like it's just a little forced to make him go that far. And there's just a little part in the middle there where it kind of sticks a bit. So I think the problem is paying attention to the line of the actual body. Because it goes, he pushes off and it's kind of straight there, straight, and then he sort of like tucks it in, and then his body sort of floats there as he does his somersault, and then it shoots forward again there to land. So I would just make that a much smoother arc and just pay attention to the actual body. You can even see as he shoots off, it kind of does a little bit of a wobble there. So just make that a lot smoother as well. And then he lands quite nicely. So I really like the variety of shots that you've got here. As I said, it's really nice that you've got a human body mechanic as well as the creatures, and it's different creatures, like something difficult like a giraffe, you've got a bird, you've got dinosaurs. They're quite difficult to animate and you've done a really good job of it, so well done. Just, you know, that's my feedback. Those are my tips. You can take it or leave it, obviously. Hopefully you do find it somewhat helpful in some way, and I hope that everyone else who also watched it found it a little bit helpful too. If you haven't seen my YouTube channel, I do have a channel where I give advice and tips on getting into the industry, you know, stuff about showreels, things about different careers you can have in the industry, stuff like that. So if you want to check stuff like that out, then you can check out my channel, which is Robyn O. Otherwise, I hope you all have a super great week. Not that much longer to go till the weekend, so just hold on in there, guys. You can do it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And have a good rest of your day or night. It's nighttime for me. Bye.